Hey guys! Today we're beating Pokemon LeafGreen, only using Pokemon we get from in-game trades. Now, the first in-game trade isn't available until Vermilion City, so up until that point, we're only gonna use the Pokemon that will be traded later on. And trust me, that does not make this challenge easier. Alright, here's the rules. No items in battle, but held items are okay, and we can only use Pokemon received through in-game trades, making an exception only for the early game where we can use Pokemon that will be traded later. We're gonna use a bunch of fun and underused Pokemon in this run, and I can't wait to show you guys. So, let's get started. We go ahead and pick Squirtle as our starter and fail the challenge immediately by using him in battle. Alright, that's it. Run's over. Just kidding. We're gonna move on, run an errand for Professor Oak, and go catch my real starter, Spearow. Get out of my life, Squirtle. Spearow is the only Pokemon available for us to use right now, and I'm looking ahead to Brock, and yeah, we're in a little bit of trouble. So, we go around beating every trainer we can, including our rival at level 9, all the trainers in Viridian Forest, and then the trainer in Brock's gym at level 15. But unfortunately, we still don't stand a chance against Brock himself. And it stays that way until we reach level 19 and learn Pursuit. Now, going up against Brock, Geodude isn't a problem anymore, and we knock it out without taking any damage. But next is Onix, and we use a Growl to weaken Rock Tomb and then hammer away with Pursuit. We get some lucky misses and finish him off. While making our way to Mount Moon, we catch not one, but two female Nidoran, both of which we will trade later on. We'll need to evolve one of them into Nidorina for one of the trades, and we make that happen while in Mount Moon. We finish up business, taking down the greedy scientist and grabbing the Helix fossil, then we arrive in Cerulean City. The first thing we need to do is beat our rival, which we do without any problems at all. Great. And then we can head up the bridge to where the next Pokemon we need to catch is, and that Pokemon is Abra, which we catch surprisingly fast. And now we have a grand total of 4 Pokemon ready to be traded. And after meeting Bill and getting the SS ticket, we can actually skip Misty and head towards Vermilion City to finally start making trades. The first trade we come to is in the underground tunnel, and we trade our female Nidoran for a male Nidoran. And on Fire Red, it's the opposite, trading male for female. Once we arrive in Vermilion, we head into one of the houses where we trade Spearow for a Farfetch'd named Chiding. And here's a Pokemon I hardly ever use, so this will be fun. Our next trade is very similar to the Nidoran trade earlier, except this time we trade Nidorina for Nidorino over on Route 11. We head through Diglett Cave to access our final trade for now, which is Abra for Mr. Mime. And this is another fun Pokemon I just haven't used enough. I decide to deposit Nidoran in the PC since we have a Nidorino. Well, actually, I go ahead and evolve it so we have a Nidoking. But now we have a problem. Since our Pokemon are traded and we haven't beaten Misty, my team literally won't obey me. And even though we're more than strong enough to beat Misty, we actually lose over and over due to this problem. And there's not much to do about it except just try the battle over and over. Eventually, our strategy pays off and we get super lucky and we barely, I mean barely, defeat her team and get the second badge, which makes my Pokemon obey me up to level 30. Shoo, thank goodness, that was driving me crazy. Now it's time to head back to Vermilion to board the SS Anne. And our rival's team is getting a little bit stronger. However, he's still just no match for our trio of Nidoking, Mr. Mime, and Farfetch'd. We rub an old man's back to get cut, and now we can head to Lieutenant Surge for our third gym badge. As you could probably guess, Lieutenant Surge goes down extremely easily at the hands of Mr. Mime and Nidoking, earning us our third gym badge. We go ahead and head through Rock Tunnel without Flash like usual, skipping as many trainers as we can because we don't really need the experience. Once we make it through to Lavender Town, we make a beeline straight for Erica, since her badge will allow my team to obey me up to level 50. Between Farfetch'd and Mr. Mime, Erica's grass types never really stood a chance, even though our Mr. Mime almost got knocked out towards the end. But alright, fourth badge down. Next, we head into the Team Rocket hideout beneath the game corner, and it's an absolute breeze to get to Giovanni. Nidoking does most of the heavy lifting, knocking out Onix and Rhyhorn, and even poisoning Kangaskhan before Farfetch'd comes in and finishes the job. Now it's time to head back to Lavender Town because we still have some things we need to do there. We start with our rival in the Pokemon Tower, and this battle is known for being on the weaker side. Our team is really just overpowering him at every level, and we defeat him without hardly taking any damage. We continue to ascend the tower until we reach the top and rescue Mr. Fuji from Team Rocket, and he gifts us with the Poké-Flute for our heroism. After much consideration, I decide to skip going to Fuchsia for now and head to Saffron instead. My reason is that earning the 6th badge from Sabrina allows my Pokemon to obey me up to level 70, which I don't see myself getting anywhere close to, but at least the cutoff wouldn't be level 50 anymore. But alright, our first stop in Saffron is Silphco, and we're gonna see if we're too underleveled or not. We beat down some grunts for some levels while we make our way to our next big battle, our rival. But I don't think he's gonna be as easy this time. We start off with Nidoking for Pidgeot and take it down without getting hit. But next is Alakazam, so we switch to Farfetch'd and set up a Swords Dance to make sure we one-shot with Fly. We do good damage on Gyarados with Mr. Mime before we get taken out, but we bring in Nidoking who finishes it off. Growlithe goes down pretty easily, and last is Venusaur, and it only takes 2 flies from Farfetch'd to knock it out and beat our rival. This team is really starting to impress me. Next up is our second time facing off with Giovanni. We lead with Nidoking and take down his Nidorino, and then slowly but surely knock out his Kangaskhan as well. Nidoking falls, so we send in Mr. Mime to finish off Rhyhorn, and then we spam Psybeam on Nidoking until victory is ours. And that's Giovanni number 2. Pretty easy. Now for our last stop in Saffron, Sabrina. Now, our plan is very simple. We're gonna use Swords Dance 3 times with Farfetch'd, and then sweep her entire team. And as you can see, that's exactly what we do, and we don't even take damage. Great battle. Now we need to head to Fuchsia City, and on our way we get the Super Rod, which means we can go catch some Pokemon to trade. First is Poliwhirl, and second is Slowpoke. We can go to Cerulean City and immediately trade Poliwhirl for a Jinx, a hard-hitting special attacker that will help a lot. We'll need to evolve Slowpoke before we can trade him, but that can wait. As we continue toward Fuchsia, we catch ourselves a Venonat, which we will trade later on. But we finally make it to Fuchsia City, and I'm going straight for Koga. And using Jinx, we absolutely demolish his entire team, one-shotting every Pokemon except for Muck, which falls from 2 Psychics instead of 1. But alright, Koga down, 2 more badges to go. But first, we have to take care of business in the Safari Zone to get Surf and Strength. And now that we have Surf, we can access the power plant and catch ourselves a Pikachu. We immediately evolve it into Raichu so that it's ready to be traded later. The last thing we need to do before heading to Cinnabar Island is to evolve Slowpoke, and we just use our rare candies to speed that up, and then head to Route 18 to trade Slowbro for Lickitung. And yeah, we're definitely using him. Our last 3 trades are on Cinnabar Island, and we can go ahead and do 2 of them once we arrive. The first trade is Raichu for Electrode, whose electric moves should really help. And then the second one is Venonat for Tangela. And yeah, I don't think we're gonna use you, Tangela, sorry. Now we can go retrieve the secret key from the Pokemon Mansion. And once that's done, we can head into Blaine's gym to challenge him. We start off with Lickitung against Growlithe, and we knock it out with a critical Surf. Next up is Ponyta, and we get Blaine to use his Hyper Potions before we finally take it down. But Rapidash comes in and knocks out Lickitung, Jinx, and Farfetch'd. We're finally able to finish it off with Mr. Mime, but now we have to deal with Arcanine. We sacrifice Electrode to get in a Screech, set up a Reflect, and do a little damage with Mr. Mime, and then bring in Nidoking to finish him off with Dig. Jeez, being underleveled is starting to show. But alright, only one more badge. There's only one more trade left, but we need a Ponyta, and they're only found on one island. So, we take a trip with Bill across the sea, and then catch ourselves a Ponyta, the last catch of this run. Now, we can't leave the islands until we finish the side story, but that doesn't bother me because I enjoy this part of the game. But now that that's done, we head back to Cinnabar and make the last trade of the run. Ponyta for Seal. And we really needed a water type, so this is perfect. Before we fight Giovanni, we're able to evolve Seal into Dugong, and now we can take him on for our last badge. We start off with Dugong, and we one-shot both of Giovanni's Rhyhorns with Surf. We use Jinx to one-shot his Nidoqueen with a Psychic, and bring Dugong back out to one-shot Dugtrio with a Surf. Last is Nidoking, and we can't one-shot it with Surf, but we still managed to knock it out while barely hanging on. And there you have it, all 8 badges. We do some training to get our team up to level 43, and then we go take on our rival. We start off with Electrode against his Pidgeot, and we manage to knock it out with 2 Thunderbolts. Next is Rhyhorn, and it's an easy one-shot from Dugong's Surf. Out comes Venusaur, so we switch to Jinx and we're able to take it down with just 2 Psychics. We send out Nidoking to one-shot Growlithe with Earthquake, and we keep him in for Alakazam, but we get knocked out and have to switch to Electrode to finish it off. Last is Gyarados, who goes down to a single Thunderbolt. Wow, that wasn't bad at all. Let's head to Victory Road. We defeat each and every trainer on our way through Victory Road, and once we make it to the Pokemon League, we immediately try to take it on with our team still in the 40s. We were actually able to make it to Agatha, but her Gengars outsped and one-shotted my entire team, so yeah. I level up my team to level 50 and then we try again. Alright, first up is Lorelei. We start off with Electrode against her Dugong, and it's an easy 2-shot with Thunderbolt. Cloyster won't do much damage, so we set up a light screen and then one-shot it with Thunderbolt. Next is Slowbro, who also goes down from 2 Thunderbolts, and we switch to Lickitung for Lapras. We hit it with a Toxic and a Double Edge before we faint, then we send out Farfetch'd, who gets knocked out real quick. But finally, we take down Lapras with a Thunderbolt from Electrode. Her last Pokemon is Jinx, and we send out Nidoking to easily knock it out with Earthquake. Not too easy, but not too hard. Now on to Bruno. We start with Dugong and one-shot Onix with Surf. And then we switch to Jinx to take down Hitmonchan before going right back to Dugong to one-shot his other Onix. Out comes Hitmonlee, and we try to use Farfetch'd, but we get knocked out. So we bring in Jinx, who nearly one-shots it, but ultimately takes it down. Last is Machamp, and we send in Electrode to self-destruct so that a single Psychic from Jinx will 100% finish it off. Bruno is always the easiest. Third is Agatha, and we lead with Lickitung against her Gengar. We get lucky and knock it out by spamming Shadow Ball, even though it was using Double Team over and over. We switch to Electrode for Golbat and take it down with 2 Thunderbolts, and then we switch to Nidoking and it takes 2 Earthquakes to knock out Arbok. Next is Haunter, who is an easy one-shot by Jinx, and last is Gengar, so we send out Lickitung to get in a Shadow Ball, and then we send out Farfetch'd, but he does basically nothing. Now we try with Dugong, and after a handful of Surfs, we're able to take down Gengar. See you later, Agatha. We're moving on. Up next is Lance, and we start off with Electrode and one-shot his Gyarados. Next is Dragonair, so we send in Jinx and one-shot it with Ice Punch. Out comes Aerodactyl, so we switch to Electrode and actually use 2 Thunderbolts to knock it out. We send Jinx back out for Lance's other Dragonair and take it down with Ice Punch, and then we keep Jinx in to hit Dragonite with an Ice Punch and one-shot it. Wow, honestly, this was easier than Agatha. But now it's time for the champion, aka our rival. We start off with Electrode against his Pidgeot, and we take it down with 2 Thunderbolts like usual. We send out Dugong for his Rhydon, and big surprise, we one-shot it with Surf. And next up is Venusaur, so we switch to Farfetch'd and set up a Swords Dance before taking it down to half health. But we get knocked out, so Jinx comes in and finishes it off. We send in Electrode for Gyarados, who falls to a single Thunderbolt, and then we switch to Lickitung for Alakazam. We get a lucky crit with Shadow Ball to knock it out, and last up is Arcanine, so we switch to Dugong, and it only takes 2 Surfs to knock it out. And there you have it, the champion has been defeated. And we've beaten the game using only in-game trades. And I gotta say that this one is my favorite so far. The team we used was so unique and so different, and that really put a cool spin on this game. As far as MVP of the run, I think I'd vote for Jinx, but let me know down in the comments who you would pick. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe so you never miss out. Until next time, guys.